What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my next set of NFL rankings. So far I've got through, I believe, 6 so far, and today will be my cornerback rankings, and it will be top 10 like the normal format. And after today there will just be safety rankings, and then like I said, I'll do some form of special teams to end it out. So go ahead and start with my 3 outside, and I didn't really do too detailed of stat check on some of the lower players. This is a lot just off the top of my head, and then pretty much after that it was just a combination of other ranking lists. Obviously the stats I did look up, and then just things like overall, a few things were just like overall fantasy football points and things like that. So let's go ahead and start with number 3, and I've got the Los Angeles Rams, Jermaine Johnson. So Jermaine Johnson was actually the second leading corner in interceptions last year with 7. Also got a decent amount of tackles with 71 combined, and I believe 58 solo. And really, I think an underrated corner last year, kind of sitting behind Janoris Jenkins in St. Louis, and I think he'll be the guy this year. For me, Jermaine Johnson is probably one of the top 12 corners in football. Like I said, doesn't get that much recognition. He spent 5 seasons in the league, and I'm pretty sure this one was by far his best. He has 15 career interceptions, 7 of which were last year. So obviously a good season, including one of those returned for a touchdown. So at number 2 on the 3 outside, I've got the lockdown corner now for the New York Giants, and that is Janoris Jenkins. So Jenkins was obviously on the St. Louis Rams. He is a guy that will get you a pretty heavy amount of turnovers. Not a whole lot this past year, only 1 forced fumble, 3 INTs. I think he'll be able to he'll maybe have a little bit of a bounce back season, landing a big contract in New York, maybe giving his career a little bit of a jump. I'm not saying it was bad, definitely wasn't in the first place, but maybe playing in the bigger market with a team he seems pretty excited to play for will take him to the next level. And last year did have 3 interceptions. The only problem with Janoris Jenkins is he has a tendency to get beat deep, sometimes overplays, and that is a result of a lot of the reason why he gets turnovers is he does jump the ball a lot, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, just the way it goes. So at number 1, I've got the Buffalo Bills, Ronald Darby. So Darby was a rookie this past year, and one of 2 rookies to actually crack this list. And I think he is going to be a top 10 corner next year. He definitely was able to put in the work this year. Former Florida State Seminole, was able to come up with 2 interceptions, I believe 4 turnovers overall. And again, I think he will be the guy I think he already is the guy in Buffalo. He's really the best corner they got, and was able to see some of the better receivers in the NFL, along with T.Y. Hilton this year. Just down the stretch, he was able to see some guys like T.Y. Hilton, Odell Beckham Jr., Julian Edelman, Jarvis Landry, and a lot of those guys he'll be seeing again next year. I believe he did struggle with a little bit of injury problems at the end of the year. I think his last game was against the Titans, but actually, no, that's wrong. Never mind. Not last game against the Titans. But like I said, was able to bring down a decent amount of tackles, 68 combined. And like I said, should take a big step forward this coming season in the NFL. So at number 10, I've got the... oh man, this is really bad. Where is this going? All right, so at number 10, I've got Stephon Gilmore. So Stephon Gilmore, been in the league since 2012. To me, he is one of the better I'd say especially underrated corners in the NFL. He will bring you down about 3-4 interceptions a year. I believe he was able to bring down 3 this past year. Yeah, 3 interceptions, no forced fumbles or anything like that, but 36 combined tackles. Actually, all of those straight solo tackles. And again, good corner for Buffalo, opposite Ronald Darby. Again, I think Ronald Darby is the guy at this point. I think Stephon Gilmore is a little bit more of the polished corner right now. I do think Ronald Darby will jump him eventually, but Buffalo does have an underrated set of starting corners with Ronald Darby opposite Stephon Gilmore. Number 9, I've got the Indianapolis Colts, Vontae Davis. So Vontae Davis is one of my personal favorite corners. If you guys watch a lot of videos, you know I'm a Colts fan. He was able to bring down 4 interceptions. I believe he's right in the prime of his career right now. Been in the NFL since 2009. Obviously came in with the Miami Dolphins and then was traded to the Colts a couple of years ago. No forced fumbles, 48 combined tackles, 38 of which were solo, and far and away I think the best corner that the Colts have to offer. So at number 8, I've got the Denver Broncos, Chris Harris Jr. So I think Chris Harris is one of the more underrated parts of the Broncos defense. I've been saying underrated for a lot of these guys, but a lot of it's true. Some of these guys don't get the recognition they deserve. It's kind of happened with cornerbacks now, just across the board in the NFL. They even though they're as valuable as ever, I feel like they're talked about less than they have been ever before. Chris Harris was able to bring down 2 interceptions last year, none of which I believe was for a touch. Actually, one of which was for a touchdown, and then 2 forced fumbles also. He is one of the better slot corners in the NFL. He's extremely quick. He can cover a lot of the better. Trying to think of some of the types. I guess some of the better like Julian Edelman types in the NFL. He's also been known to cover some of the better tight ends when they need that as well. So at number 7, I've got Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. I think DRC's been fantastic ever since he came into the league in 2008. I believe he's normally able to pull you down about 3 or 4 interceptions a year. He's got great ball skills, and he can keep up with really the best of them in the NFL. 3 interceptions this past year, 1 of which for a touchdown, and then 3 more fumbles, 2 forced and 1 recovered, 1 of which for a touchdown. So I like what Rodgers-Cromartie brings to the table. I think that with the addition of Janoris Jenkins this year, that they've got a good set of corners. Obviously 2 of them on this list. And I think you can expect more of the same out of Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie this year. He doesn't face the greatest set of wide receivers in the NFC East. Obviously, Des Bryant is one of the better ones, but he missed quite a bit of time last year. With the Redskins, you get Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, which, depending on who's playing quarterback at the time, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. And then you've got... Oh, it's blanking right now. Then you got Jordan Matthews with the Philadelphia Eagles or whoever they got that certain year, and that's not that bad either. So at number 6, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs rookie last year, going into his second year, Marcus Peters. So I like what Marcus Peters brings to the table. I think he's already a star. I think he could jump into the top 5 next year. He was able to bring in a league-leading 8 interceptions, actually tied with Reggie Nelson, and actually leading all corners in the NFL in interceptions, 60 combined tackles, and then 1 forced fumble. So he was a turnover machine this year. I think the best corner that the Chiefs got. Like I said, a guy out of Washington that I think will be a star in the league for years to come. And like I said already, I think the best corner on the Kansas City Chiefs. So number 5, and this might surprise some people, I've got the Seattle Seahawks lockdown corner Richard Sherman. So it definitely wasn't Sherman's best season. I do still think that he belongs in the top 5. He is still one of the better lockdown corners in the NFL. It's going to take a lot for him not to be. He's just been so good the last, I'd say, 3-4 years in the NFL. Let me see if I can... There we go. 2 interceptions this past year, no forced fumbles, 50 combined tackles, 33 of which were solo. I still think he's probably the biggest at least the most known piece of that Seattle Seahawks defense, and right now the best corner they got. So at number 4, I've got the Denver Broncos, Aqib Talib. So Talib really did play very well this year. I still think he's the best outside corner that the Broncos are going to find. Obviously, one of the key parts of a Broncos defense that was able to win them a Super Bowl this year. Talib was able to bring down 3 interceptions. He kind of did slow down at the end of the year, 2 of which were for touchdowns, and then 45 combined tackles. I don't think he had any sacks. And I like what Aqib Talib will be able to bring to the Broncos for a few more years. I think he's maybe in the latter half of his prime right now. Came into the league in 2008 and has been really a stud ever since. I think that he'll be a guy that, like I said, will be the prime corner for the Broncos at least next year, and kind of got a good inside-outside formation with Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. So at number 3, I've got the Arizona Cardinals, stud playmaker Patrick Peterson. So Peterson, obviously, one of the better, not just cornerbacks on this list, but also kick punt returners. Has been able, I'm not exactly sure how many kick punts he's been able to bring back the last few years for touchdowns, but it has been, I believe, upwards of 8. That's something I'm going to have to look up. But 2 interceptions last year, 1 fumble, and I believe, 35 combined tackles, all of which were solo, or all of which were actually solo also. So I like Patrick Peterson. I think he's underrated as a shutdown corner. He gets, he doesn't really get that much of a test again against receivers in the NFC West. I don't think that the Seahawks present too much of a challenge. Doug Baldwin did emerge last year, but still not a top 10 receiver in the NFL. The 49ers struggle to produce any sort of receiver, and the Rams kind of same deal. So again, I like what Patrick Peterson brings to the table still. I think that he's one of the biggest parts, maybe the biggest part of that Cardinals defense. Him alongside Tyrann Mathieu form a pretty scary secondary in Arizona. And I believe that was his 5th year in the league this past year. And like I said, I think this is the guy that's just entering his prime. So at number 2, I've got the Carolina Panthers, Josh Norman. So Josh Norman obviously emerged huge last year, looking at a pretty sizable contract this year, probably in the ballpark of 13 to 15 million, and almost led a very good Panthers defense to a Super Bowl victory, 1 win away. Was able to bring down 5 fumbles, 2 of which were recoveries, 3 of which were forced, and then 4 interceptions. And then 2 touchdowns off interceptions. So he had 56 combined tackles as well. Again, I really, really like what Josh Norman brought this year for the Panthers. It was a part of the defense that seemed to be missing the last couple of years. I think he did enough this year to emerge as one of the best corners in the NFL, definitely one of the best lockdown corners this past season, and just one of the best defensive players overall in the NFL. I really, really like what the Panthers got in place heading into the next couple of years. Obviously, with Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis at linebacker, I've mentioned that before. I like what guys like Coney Ealy, Kwan Short bring to the table for the future of the Panthers defense. I think Coney Ealy could be huge this coming year. So at number 1, I've got the aging but still good Darrelle Revis for the New York Jets. So still able to bring down 5 interceptions this past year, 4 fumble recoveries for 9 total turnovers, and 39 combined tackles, 30 of which were solo. It's been talked about a little bit this year, the downfall of Darrelle Revis, obviously in the latter half of his prime at this point, been in the league for about 10, 11 years now, and I think he's still got a lot of fight left in him. He's still, to me, the best lockdown corner in the NFL. You want to stick any corner you got on good players, you put Darrelle Revis on him. It was actually interesting to see last year when he was on the Patriots. He actually was the number 2 corner most of the time. He was playing against team's second-best receiver. Back with the Jets, he's back as the primary corner, and I think it's been a good situation ever since he went back home to New York. So that concludes my cornerback list. So like I said, tomorrow, maybe Thursday will be safeties, and then I guess tomorrow, maybe Friday, depending on when I post this video. And then, like I said, some form of a special teams video, and then my top 50 overall. So that pretty much does it. If you've not seen the rest of the playlist yet, if you've not seen the rest of the videos, go definitely check those out. I'll put the link to the entire playlist in the description below. And the last, I believe, 2 of the videos will be in the outro as well. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Or at least it has so far. Like I said, tomorrow I'll be doing corners, next day safeties, and then some form of special teams, and round it out, probably top 50, maybe top 100, I'm not sure. So yesterday's video was hard to come up with. It was the hardest list yet, just because, like I said, there's really no frame of reference